So moving on, we're going to be checking out Casual Geographic's 100 Men versus 1 Gorilla. Everything you need to know. I don't know anyone who would actually believe 100 men stand a chance. And if I'm wrong, I will be actually probably amused by it because I like Casual Geographic. But depending on the footage he's using, it's either going to be really funny or, oh God, why does he have this? I'm not sure which way this is going to go because he's had some real footage before that was, well, more accurate than I thought was real, and then found out it was real. So let's see just how crazy this gets. Oh God.
100 Men versus 1 Gorilla is just the newest online debate brought to you by people that have way too much time on their hands. And I'm no better, because here I am making a video about it. Because it's quickly gone from silly Twitter talk to
men discussing what? Sports. See, this is not accurate. There's not nearly enough blood everywhere for that. Men discussing fighting a effing gorilla.
Twitter talk to what has to be a massive joke that I'm not in on. What's clear is one side is getting drastically overrated, while people obviously aren't taking the other side seriously. Plus, I love animals and arguments, so if you're looking for a video to eat your lunch with, or to be the soundtrack of your commute home, I'm going to break down the question
the gorilla punching the cameraman because the 100 men wasn't enough.
You probably didn't care about in the first place.
He just knocked the guy right over.
You'll wonder how this was ever even a question. So here's the full truth of whether 100 unarmed men could beat one.
Oh, it's unarmed men? Oh yeah, no, they die. They die. A lot of them win.
I'm silverback gorilla.
Specifically,
but first, we gotta understand
finding out
what
comes
force
after
of nature
life
we're up against. Now, I do have a couple recent videos on gorillas, so they're not
remarkably unserious. The tragic truth about Harambe. Yeah, I was actually thinking about this one, but
repeat myself too much. I do advise that you check those out for further context. But basically, everything we thought about gorillas back in the day was wrong. They're giant, non-violent, fart-happy pacifists, and the most dangerous.
Wait, what? They're what?
Gorillas back in the day was wrong. They're giant, non-violent, fart-happy pacifists, and the most.
They're pacifists? Oh. I was actually unaware of that. I guess maybe it's more chimpanzees who are the murder-happy ones then.
The most dangerous thing about them is they can misunderstand regular human actions as an act of war. So while, yeah, if you smile at a silverback enough times, he eventually will put beats on you like a Cherokee drum. Most times, a gorilla is just worried about the 6,000 calories he eats a day. And thank the stars.
Damn, 6,000 calories? That's getting at least 5 Starbucks. I was making a joke, but then I realized that's actually a significant proportion of the calories you would probably need. Huh.
For that, gorillas are built like the developer had something to prove. They took the human model and said, drag to resize. The result is an alpha ape with a stronger bite force than a grizzly, allegedly, hands that can crush a crocodile's skull, allegedly, and just strength that we really have no way to truly comprehend. That man fully didn't plan to get casually ragdolled, but plans are always subject to change when you're around the prime ape.
I'm just going to point out right here, it's the blurry footage, and you can see this man's eyes going, I nearly died by accident.
Ooh. You're around the prime ape. Gorillas might default to peace, but life is multiple choice. The question is, what kind of carnage comes when they choose violence? It's hard to imagine what a fully malice-motivated gorilla can do because it takes a lot for them to get to that point. The first phase of conflict involves using body language and gestures to send a message before hands even have to be thrown. Because for an animal that can spend over 12 hours a day eating, wasting calories on fights is poor resource management.
There's a joke in there somewhere about, oh, they also spend most of the day eating. Except that would be completely accurate, and I'm very much to blame.
Second phase of escalation usually involves pushing, grappling, and screaming in really short bursts. Gorillas fight the way they fuck. What I mean is, the phase they run are like how they're hung. Not long at all. Because again, most times gorillas don't actually want to fight. But what about when they do? Yeah, that would be phase 3, and that usually happens when 2 silverbacks throw down for control of a group. Losing such would mean losing the 3 Fs: food, family, and the FCC won't let me finish, but stakes can make these fights to the death, and here's where we can see what gorillas are truly capable of. I found a research paper that detailed the
observation of severe and lethal coalitionary attacks. Oh, coalitionary attacks in wild mountain gorillas. A coalitionary conflict, coalitionary behavior described. Multi-male, multi-female wild mountain gorilla groups attacking extra group males. Yeah, so they made a coalition to attack other. They literally had an army. Okay.
Injury sustained in gorilla on gorilla fights, and based on that, you see a pattern. Those teeth are for more than just undressing trees, and losers are often found with lacerations and puncture wounds all over the body.
Damn.
And unlike a leopard,
Well,
which
they
leaves
censored
small puncture wounds, the canines of a gorilla cause large gaping tears in victims. Even if the gorilla's bite strength has been exaggerated, which we will get into, even lowballing them puts them at the level of a hyena. One gorilla named Inshuti had his foot completely crushed with the tips of his fingers and ear bitten off. Gorillas also use their arms, not really to punch but to use as battering rams, and they've also been known to pull chunks of hair out with their hands. So safe to say,
I'm going to be honest, if a gorilla's trying to pull my hair out, I'm already freaking out and panicking, so I wouldn't notice.
a gorilla's stiff arm to the back would crack your constitution like a glow stick and could dislocate or break human bones by accident. And with many victims also recorded with bite wounds to the face, you'd probably be able to unlock your iPhone from 20 feet away after a gorilla puts jaws on you. So what chance would an army of humans have against a 500-pound berserker? Well, hot take, gorillas have been drastically overrated in many ways. First as fighters.
Really?
Gorillas aren't efficient fighters, they're more physical brawlers and grapplers, and with everything I've said, most fights last anywhere from a couple seconds to 1 to 2 minutes.
Grapplers, which means they're not actually going to handle more than the first couple people on their own. Unless they actually do Hulk out and beat a motherfucker with another motherfucker, in which case, improvised weapons are useful.
It's at the most. Also, as strong as gorillas are, their strength has been overrated. There are some animals that just get more and more OP the more people talk about them. Chimps have been said to have the strength of 8 men when really it's closer to 1.5. It's just that they're stronger in all the ways that can kill you. And grizzly bears are already big enough, but then you got people claiming they could decapitate a full-grown moose with one swipe. Now what idiot would say that? And this—
Wait, what? A grizzly could turn a moose into a paraplegic with one slap so they can easily one-shot any gorilla. Oh my god. Also, yeah, camera glow up. Not as good lighting though.
It would say that. And this debate has people swearing a gorilla would rip a whole man in half like a phone book with nary a sweat. I knew the gorilla propaganda peaked when this was an actual debate. Dr. Strange could conjure up 14 million realities. You won't find one where a plus-size protein-packing primate can do anything to a full-strength grizzly bear taking him seriously. Especially since there's a much smaller predator known to give gorillas problems.
Look closer, he's in there.
Gorillas have—
Wait, what? Much smaller predator, he's... Oh, this is actually going to bug me. It's a freaking Where's Waldo, man. God damn you, Casual Geographic. This is going to bug me for way longer than I'm even watching this video.
Gorillas have been documented getting preyed on by African leopards.
Oh.
Even with jungle leopards being bulkier due to less competition, that's still an at most 180-pound cat past tensing Optimus Prime. Now let me be fair, these are rare and leopards usually go for hoofed animals, wild pigs, and monkeys. Gorillas are actually too big and too social to be a regular on the grocery list, so it sounds like my whole point is trash. But that same paper listing gorilla on gorilla violence also showed the aftermath of leopard attacks. In those reports, all leopard victims took bite wounds to the head and most of the arms, with
because a gorilla just hurts. The leopard goes for lethal. Chest, neck, arteries in the arms.
Lacerations localized about the neck and claw marks on the trunk. So even though it is rare and a one-on-one between a silverback and a leopard might murk both, if a gorilla can struggle with less than 200 pounds of predator, a 900-pound duratio would give Harambe a bunkmate. Also, against 100 men, there are some very real issues that could be game over for the gorilla. The big one is endurance. Gorillas are dangerously close to being hot girl fit. They're best using explosive bursts of energy, not sustained strain over a long period of time, and a fight against 100 humans would likely last hours. Which is really bad considering compared to us, gorillas have poor temperature control.
Really?
Gorillas don't have as many sweat glands as humans.
Oh. That's actually a fascinating take, that the sweat glands would be so important, just because you have to be in a place where they actually don't have humid air to the point of being able to not sweat anymore, or for sweat to actually evaporate. I've been living in what it feels like a sauna for the last month. I'm well aware that if it's not evaporating, it ain't cooling you.
humans. And if we're talking about mountain gorillas, the thick fur would make it a 1-on-1 versus 1.
Oh.
The men and the risk of heat stroke. That is, if the ape doesn't just have a heart attack. Cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death in gorillas in zoos, and 70% of male gorillas in zoos suffer from heart disease that'll pass tense them prematurely. Now, that might just apply to zoo gorillas, but it's still a factor.
I wasn't actually aware of that, and that's actually very sad. Do they need like bigger environments so they get more exercise, or is it just that their population's inbred?
Other is the very temperament of the gorilla is highly non-confrontational. They're
Okay, that's not fair. That's a freaking goose, man. Those things are evil.
more likely to run away than run a fade. But most importantly, the brawling, grappling build is not a good combat style against multiple enemies. We know that cause there's another African predator that's been giving gorillas hell, and you may not have even realized it.
What?
And it's weird because for a while, gorillas and chimpanzees seem like they were on good terms. They've been recorded foraging together, and they'll even have their version of primate playdates. That all changed when the chimps started chimping. A couple years ago in Luongo National Park, scientists witnessed a gang of 18 chimps jump a gorilla family of 5. That's 3 females, 1 baby, and a silverback. The turf war lasted an hour, and even with the silverback apparently testing ragdoll physics, throwing chimps in the air, and even managing to injure 3. Eventually, he was surrounded and chased off by 9 chimps. The adults got away, but the chimps managed to snatch the baby gorilla of the group, which was promptly eaten. The second attack involved 27 chimpanzees and 7 gorillas, and this time, the silverback made a business decision and immediately climbed out of the trees and fled the scene. Yes, comparing chimps to humans is comparing durians to jackfruit. The moral here is the one gorilla can not only be overwhelmed, but neutralized by numbers. Because if there's one thing that's being dangerously underrated, it's the power of friendship. Don't laugh, I'm serious.
You know, there was phrases I was not expecting to get today. The power of friendship in 100 Men vs. Gorilla. That is not the phrase I was expecting.
If you remember this picture, then you know this was the 100 Men 1 Gorilla of 2018. It's pretty.
Pick 2. They will defend you. The rest are coming to kill you. I mean, if we're in the water, 10. I take 10. 1,000 rats? What kind of rats? Are we like talking regular rats, or are we talking New York sewer rats? Because at that point, you're basically talking about a wolf, a small wolf.
Self-explanatory. Everything here is coming for your life except the 2 you pick to run defense for you. And I'm just gonna kill the suspense. If one of those picks isn't the 10,000 rats, you have no idea how big 10,000 is.
10,000 is a lot. 10,000 sewer rats is basically saying, you're never going to get close enough to me to do shit. Unless you're the hunter, in which case, you're dead anyways.
Add eagles for aerial support, and the rest of the field would have over 200 rats to deal with each. And it's cause the power of plurality is one of the most broken strategies in nature. Mobbing refers to an anti-predator behavior where prey animals approach, harass, and sometimes attack their own predator. It's how one animal can shift an almost impossible matchup in their favor. One hyena.
Not just the hyena one there, but is that... Oh, that's the mute button. Yeah, that is a bunch of pigeons pigeons and ravens, it looks like, or crows, surrounding an owl who is a predatory hunting bird. Yeah. Damn.
Where prey animals approach, harass, and sometimes attack their own predator. It's how one animal can shift an almost impossible. Pilot whales have been on record chasing orcas out of high competition areas and even actively following the sounds of orca hunts. There's plenty of examples of weaponized unity in nature.
That's a bunch of baboons just chasing down a cheetah.
But probably my favorite case of what's akin to a mob happens off the coast of South Africa, where
I'm not sure what he's about to say, but I do know that it is something similar recently where I think it's orca whales have been knocking over boats because they're hunting the fish that they want to eat instead. So yeah, that is a thing. Nature's fighting back against us overfishing.
seals have to risk their spot on the census every time they check the fridge, because the seals can't go out for groceries without the chance of running into the biggest predatory fish on Earth. Every year, great white sharks will gather around fur seal nurseries and snatch any inexperienced pups.
Damn.
The problem is so many sharks show up that a seal can dodge one great white right into the jaws of another. You've seen this movie before, but there's an alternate ending.
What?
Scientists have recorded fur seals squatting up into one giant group and using their numbers to turn on the sharks closing in. And as the mob gets bigger, the seal force gets more confident, leading to them escorting the 20-foot assault submarines back out to sea. So
You get a bite on one, and then we take the bite out of you. Free meat.
With all this, now it doesn't seem like a stretch to favor 100 men over just one gorilla. You could argue that the CEOs and the other mob merchants aren't actually getting physical with their final boss. That's true, everyone's asking if 100 men could off a gorilla, no one's asking how. Well, that's why I'm here. But first, obligatory, don't try this on a gorilla, or at least don't blame me for the consequences if you do.
Yeah.
In a fight against a simian weighing a shack and a half, it's all about attacking the weak points, and a gorilla's weak points are the same as ours. Eyes, throat, mouth, and for measure, the jewels of the South. It's all about delivering damage that actually matters, and to do that, someone would have to perform the Draymond Green special and go for the eyes and blind him. So
Oh, I did not know. Oh, it went right for the eye. He was jumping into it too. Ooh.
someone else would have to suffocate the supersized simian, either by bear hugging his windpipe, which only Tarzan backpacking plot armor can do, or by shoving your entire arm down his throat.
What?
And since you're already negotiating your arm elbow deep in esophagus, you'd also have to pull the gorilla's tongue out. I call that the leopard method, because a 73-year-old once soloed an attacking leopard by reaching into its mouth and ripping out the leopard's liquor. And speaking
I'm sorry, what? They did what? I had to have heard that wrong.
once soloed an attacking pull the gorilla's tongue out. I call that the leopard method, because a 73-year-old once soloed an attacking leopard by reaching into its mouth and ripping out the leopard's liquor. And speaking of
That is the most terrifying 73-year-old I've ever heard of. Was it freaking mimetic Chuck Norris? Actually, he's probably older at this point.
grab and pull, someone would have to be elected to perform Draymond's final smash and go for the gorilla's
that shot.
unmentionables. Hey, don't judge. This is war. The rest would have to use their combined strength to pin the primate down, with the remainder delivering kicks to the gorilla's flank, the most powerful natural attack to the gorilla's most vulnerable area. That would probably be the best way to chip away at a gorilla. One problem though, this is still a gorilla we're talking about. Even with everything I said about their strength being overrated, a gorilla fighting for its life would show you destruction like you've never seen. It doesn't
Yeah, because them being mostly peaceful and mostly trying not to escalate and mostly trying not to actually get into a fight doesn't matter if you don't give them a choice.
No matter how many men, the method, or the facet, for those first few, their only outcome is a closed casket. Even if numbers eventually win, those first dozen or so men would be horrifically
Yeah, honestly, a dozen might be a little optimistic.
maimed, mutilated, or straight up murked. You can argue that if I can mention that 100 men running over the hill would intimidate
What is that from? Looks like it's AI generated, but I have no idea what the
even a
profile
gorilla,
is.
witnessing men getting mauled and disfigured would inflict psychological damage.
To give you an idea how bad psychological damage is, in most armies, if you lose 10%, the army breaks. That does change if there's smaller numbers broken up so you can't see the losses. But historically, a lot of armies, when you realize you've lost that many, you already lost. You're done. You're out. It doesn't sound like a high number, but usually, especially when armies get larger, things break down because it's way worse every other way.
There's an argument that witnessing the sheer carnage would weaken the resolve of the others,
Oh, yeah?
destabilizing the army. And you have to remember, if mobbing is natural, doing so in a way that guarantees a portion of your team sees Tupac live isn't. Even animals like hyenas will fall back if they sense they don't have enough of an advantage in a clan fight. But there's a catch. The tweet that started all this said, "Dedicated to that shit. Surely if men can watch bunkmates get blown to bits in a war, then you can find 100 willing to die by the gorilla. If they can withstand the visceral reaction of seeing jaws getting detached,
And he also mentioned that it wasn't they have to survive doing it. They just have to make sure the girl is dead at the end. Yeah, that's actually a lot more likely.
limbs getting dislocated, and a field of open fractures, 100
So basically, if you're talking about a bunch of meth addicts, I mean, Florida people, 100 Florida man versus one gorilla sounds a lot more natural.
men would definitely beat a gorilla. And moral of the story, we have strayed so far from the halo of Harambe. Yeah, this is the part where I do the annoying thing and turn a tweet made by someone who definitely wouldn't pass a P-test into a lecture. But like I said
Are you saying people online sometimes make comments because they are less than sober? Well, you're right.
in the other video, gorillas have already been getting the middle finger from humanity, either in the wild or in zoos. Whether it's trophy hunting or bushmeat, habitat loss, or an unsupervised minor, humans have the highest KD ratio against our green machine cousins. Because a gorilla has never been on record life depriving a person, even when they may have had a reason. Yet the mountain gorilla is nearly in bed with extinction mostly because of humans. But not all humans. Some dedicate their entire lives to the welfare of this giga ape, which is why I will be donating to Virunga National Park. Not only do they treat and protect the gorillas there as family, they often have to risk their lives regularly going against poachers.
And it should be pointed out, a lot of poaching, a lot of the ivory trade, a lot of the illegal animal activities. I'm losing my voice. Holy shit. A lot of those activities, the reason it's actually a priority for a lot of countries to oppose is because the people who benefit off it are things like, not Haram, Boko Haram, or other extremist groups that are explicitly funding terrorism with illegal activity, because if they control the area, they can do things that no one else offers, like providing this experience. So poaching, no one's going to do it legally, but they're already terrorists. So yeah, it's one of the reasons it's heavily opposed, that the people fighting it are heavily armed, not just because poachers are bad or that poachers might do something, but because a lot of times they're explicitly there to, you know, be part of those groups. So you have to take them very seriously. I'm not sure if it was always that way, but right now, a lot of that is run by organizations funding themselves off of illegal activities to do more illegal activities. Yeah, it's not like that everywhere, but in a lot of places, yeah. It also goes for some mining activities, illegal mining, illegal drilling. There's a lot of shit, man.
That end, the fact that I made a video detailing how to murk an endangered species makes my soul itch, so link down below if you'd like to donate as well. I'm not kidding when I say they're family. This man was seen comforting one of his young gorillas after his mother died. And fun fact, Virunga National is where we got this gem. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Fun little video that nobody should take seriously. Nah, but I think I'm gonna start doing the animal versus animal face-off videos again, so let me know what
Honestly, I would like to see 100 men versus 100 men unarmed. Clothed fully, though. Let's leave it that way. I think there's a very different audience for the unclothed version. I'm not okay with that one.
animal matchup you'd like to see me yap about. There's one I've been wanting to get into for a while.
Honey Badger versus Wolverine, which we saw and is awesome.
Friendly reminder that I have a book, 100 Animals That'll Bleeping End You. I'd say more, but the name's no marketing. Also, I have a Patreon, but reminder that your money's probably just gonna buy me lunch, so don't spend a check unless you've always wanted to indirectly feed me Wendy's. Or you might just fund my next trip. I mean, all this talk about gorillas, who knows? Maybe I'll go see one.
The ridiculous random nature of the gorilla. Did he actually go see a gorilla? Did he do this in person?
Oh, shit. But yeah, drink water, hug your mother. Please don't gang up on a gorilla. They've been through enough. And I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.
Ah, dude. Oh, he actually has some clips at the end, too. Newest Casual Geographic just dropped. And they show it to the gorilla. That monster. Oh. Bill Larson said 100 men versus 100 men is just Waffle House. Exactly. It's the best part there. And for everyone visiting who wants the full America experience and they don't get that, we should be ashamed we do not provide. We have a reputation to maintain of having no reputation worth maintaining. And we need to maintain it. Thank you. That's been my TED Talk. Joking aside, though, I love Casual Geographic's work because he knows so many crazy bits of facts, man. And if he ever did an actual on the ground, here we're filming Casual Geographic live because he actually took a trip to do it, dude, I would watch that in a heartbeat. I have no idea how I haven't seen his stuff more often because this is amazing, man. Although if I'm wrong and he actually has done in-person videos before, let me know, because that actually sounds amazing and I kind of want to do it. So you guys know the deal. There's a link below to the original video. Hit it up and I'll see you in the next one. Or if you happen to know that there is a live action one that he's done and gone out and done the recording with and did record everything with the camera facing him with a thing about to murder him right behind him and he survives somehow, I'll just go do that now. Considering that there doesn't seem to be more of the video and that hasn't happened, I'm disappointed. So I'll see you guys then. Adios.